Ladies and gentlemen, we have some questions that we need to ask. First off, especially with the Tennessee Titans, they have paid both their quarterback and their running back, but who really matters most to that franchise? And now, what second year quarterbacks have the best opportunity to improve in their second year season? We're also going to break down the NFL Top 100 rankings. We're going to tell you who's too high, who's too low, which NFL team has the best chance to be the play-in team and to win the finals. How will the new MLB rules such as universal DH and the extra inning rules change the game, and what kind of impact are they really going to have? We're going to rank the MLB teams, the top five from the first week of action. Then we're also going to give some UFC news. Which championship fight are we going to be looking forward to the most? Why Kazmat Chimaev is going to be fighting for a title fight sooner than you may think. And why is Cody Garbrandt moving down to flyweight a good idea? This and more, because this is a Fourth and Long Radio. This is episode 46 of the Fourth and Long podcast. I'm your host, Ross Allen, joined alongside by co-host Jalen Johnson. And we're going to get things crack-a-lacking with our NFL coverage, of course. So, like I mentioned,
crack-a-lacking.
Titans and Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill have all made this happy marriage, with Ryan Tannehill getting the big extension first, Derrick Henry signing the franchise tag, then getting his extension. But which one of them truly mattered most to that franchise? Jalen, you have the floor first.
For me, you always have to have a quarterback. I think kind of the NFL bias is that the quarterback is going to be more important because this is a passing game right now. But in my opinion, today, Derrick Henry is the bigger need and the bigger drive for that team. I feel like without Derrick Henry, Brian Tannehill doesn't look as good as he looks. People don't respect that run game as much as they respect that run game. And it just throws the entire game plan off. The main game plan for the Tennessee Titans is run the ball until they're afraid of us, then play action and throw the ball on them while they're too afraid of the run to worry about the pass. And that's what makes the pass work. Not any quarterback, but most quarterbacks can make that system work. When you have a running back like Derrick Henry back there, obviously there's certain people, Marcus Mariota, who weren't making it work as well.
Yep.
You just need, I feel like Ryan Tannehill is more the pocket passer they needed to just be able to lean back and, ride Derrick Henry's coattails. I feel like Marcus Mariota wasn't that type of player. I don't think he's a bad player, but I just think in that situation, that really wasn't the offense for him. And so that's why I think Ryan Tannehill fit in better. But do I think that they could have easily drafted a quarterback this year or signed a couple of the other quarterbacks that were free agents this year to fit in that same thing for less? Yes. I think they could have easily done that, traded for it. Andy Dalton was cheaper, and I think he's probably better, honestly. And I think he could have done the same thing, probably even better. So I think they could have got somebody cheaper, but at the same time, I don't think you could have got another powerhouse workhorse running back like Derrick Henry in free agency or the draft straight out the gate.
Well, let me tell you why I do understand it, and you can easily make the argument for either person. But Ryan Tannehill definitely matters more to the Tennessee Titans team than Derrick Henry does. I'm going to tell you why. Because without Ryan Tannehill, we do not see the production that Derrick Henry had. So, last season, 2019-2020 season, the Titans started 2-4, and that was when Marcus Mariota was quarterback of the team. And before that, we see games 80 yards, 44, 100-yard rushing, 78, and then when their last game when they played the Denver Broncos, the last game that Marcus Mariota was starting quarterback, a measly 28 yards. The next week against the Chargers, Ryan Tannehill takes over. We see 90 yards. The rest of the season, we see 188, 160, 150, 100, 211 to end the season. We definitely see a sharp increase of overall yards and touchdowns per game once Ryan Tannehill takes over. Now, I'm not saying that Ryan Tannehill is the person that matters most in the office. I'm not saying that he's the reason that they're having that they're putting up all these points, because of course we go back to the first round the second round for the Ravens, or for the Titans, first round for the Ravens in the divisional round matchup when they smoked the Ravens, and Ryan Tannehill had one touchdown the whole game. Derrick Henry did carry them a pretty good amount, 195 yards. But Derrick Henry was only able to do all this because Ryan Tannehill opened up their offense, especially if we're talking play action, especially in the play action. Ryan Tannehill is not the only person to blame for Derrick Henry's success, but he is one of the main reasons that Derrick Henry did as well as he did. And Derrick Henry should be thanking Ryan Tannehill once he signed that big money contract, because without him, he wouldn't have got that contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they feel like after they paid Ryan Tannehill, they're like, well, now if we don't pay him at least this much, we're not going to get to keep him.
Yeah, that's the thing. You had to pay both of them. I was okay with Derrick Henry playing one more year on franchise tag with them extending him next season. I was okay with that. But with them locking in their two biggest pieces on that team for long term, great move by the Titans. Great move overall. But Derrick Henry is important. Ryan Tannehill is even more important because, once again, you kind of mentioned this before, it's a quarterback-driven league. And without a good quarterback, you ain't doing jack.
Yeah,
so now,
agreed.
Let's move on into some other news with the second-year quarterbacks. We have 5 second-year quarterbacks of really to mention. We have got Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, and Gardner Minshew. So, out of these ones, which quarterback has the best chance of improving in their second season, and why is it Kyler Murray or Drew Lock? You go.
Honestly, I feel like it's a slight bias. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray over Drew Lock. I think I would go with Kyler Murray. Just because Kyler Murray, he's kind of got that prototype that the NFL didn't know they had for the future of the NFL. Running quarterbacks who can throw the ball.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, exactly.
Only the two best quarterbacks. Yeah. Okay, man, I might get hate for this. Patrick Mahomes was the third best quarterback last year.
Yeah, honestly.
It can help that he missed games due to injury, but the top two quarterbacks was Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson.
Followed by Patrick Mahomes, respectively. Yes. But I feel like he follows that prototype. He can move. He can throw the ball. He has arm strength for that little size, and he has crazy arm strength. It's kind of like to put it in to put it in UFC terms, he is the Davison Figueroa of the quarterbacks.
Spit that one out. Great job, Jalen.
Yes. He has crazy power in his arm for that size. I think he's listed at 5'10", but that's being very generous. Very generous. I'm pretty sure
I'd say 5'9" in cleats.
Yeah, 5'9" in cleats, honestly. But yeah, the team surrounding him right now, he has one of the top receiving cores. I could say right now the top two receiving cores based off of potential for me would be Broncos and Cardinals. That's just my opinion.
That's just fact.
And I just think with the team going around, the team that they're building off, young coaches, new coaches, building systems that aren't really seen as I wouldn't say not normal, but conventional, I guess, from other coaches. But coaches that are willing to go above and beyond to make it work for these quarterbacks, which is why Drew Lock and Kyler Murray are the top two for me. And I just think the situations they are in are perfect.
Exactly. That's why they're the top two for me, because of their supporting cast. I've said this for about 8-10 weeks now. Who knows, Jalen? But I remember we specifically had a video up on YouTube talking about how the Broncos and the Cardinals are the same team, but in different conferences. And I believe that hardcore, because wide receiving core, they have two of the best in the league. If you are Chad Johnson, the Broncos have the best receiving core in the league, and now the Cardinals got a huge boost after being able to fleece Duke Nukem.
Rob.
It was
Duke.
Dude, they got Duke, and DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the game right now, and he's on the Cardinals, so that automatically makes your wide receiving core one of the best. They both have young offenses with veteran defenses, and they both have now gotten more O-line help with two young quarterbacks with all the potential in the world to succeed. But with that being said, I'm still going to have to go. It pains me. It's really close. It's honestly really close between Kyler Murray and Drew Lock. But I am have to go and say Kyler Murray just because he has the best wide receiver in the game. He's going to be able to catch anything that gets even close to him. And also, it's not going to hurt that I already said this in a previous show that Larry Fitzgerald is going to have a 10-touchdown season, and this is going to be his best season in 5 years because of DeAndre Hopkins. So, Kyler Murray first, Drew Lock really close second, Coming in third, I'm going to put Daniel Jones because he had a great year last year. We can't forget.
Great year. Very underrated year.
The draft was still a reach. The pick was still a reach, but it was still a good pick nonetheless. Number 4 is going to be Gardner Minshew. And it's only Gardner Minshew because he's not Dwayne Haskins, and Dwayne Haskins is on the Washington football team.
Yeah, so, I feel like it's just because it's the Washington football team.
It's who has the best of the 2 worst teams between the Jags and the Washington football team. Almost said it. Almost had to put in a swear jar. I didn't. The Jags are not as bad as the Washington football team. I still hate having to say that.
And I don't know. I got some hate for this when I said this to a couple of people. I was talking to this earlier last week. I said the Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins connection is going to be similar to. I don't know exactly how similar to, but the Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson connection that they had in their earlier years.
I will say no because Megatron was better and. Also, Matt Stafford
that's why I said similar.
Similar? Okay.
Yes, similar.
You know what? I can see that.
In their early years. I think it's a young quarterback whose raw talent is and potential is through the roof, but they still have to prove themselves, and they're tough guys.
Yeah, let's just hope DeAndre Hopkins doesn't retire way too early because the franchise screws him out of money that he deserves. That's why. Okay, now let's talk about these NFL 100 rankings. So over the past couple of days, as of today recording, we have gone down to the number 31 ranking. And so take that with this is the extent we have so far. But Keenan Allen came out and said that he feels very disrespected, and he's better than guys like Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. And I disagree strongly. I said that it was fine on Twitter. His ranking, I replied, said it was fine. Of course, some of the people that disagreed and tried to hate on me had clear Charger kind of usernames.
The 4 Chargers fans responded.
The 4 Chargers fans that responded, they all had Chargers in their ads whatever. So obviously, there's no bias there. But who would you rather have, Jalen? I'd rather have Mike Evans than Keenan Allen, if I'm being 100% honest. Because Keenan Allen, you had the better route running. Is skill wise and little footwork wise, you're better. But when it comes to a wide receiver, that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is can I throw a ball to you and can you catch that ball?
Production.
Mike Evans, I'd much if we're talking who we'd rather have, game on the line, Hail Mary opportunity. We just got to throw it up. You just got to simply beat the defender to the ball. I'm taking Mike Evans 10 times out of 10 over Keenan Allen. It's not even a debate for me. Mike Evans is better than Keenan Allen. Much rather have him on my team. And Keenan Allen,
I would definitely
swallow your ego, please. Please, you're on the Chargers. I know their defense is good. Your defense is good. Just signed Joey Bosa, big deal. Defense is good. Offense.
NFL record, big deal.
No offense. No, not buying it. Mike Evans all the way.
I would definitely take. I would take Mike Evans also. It's no offense to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a very productive receiver.
He's a very good wide receiver. His footwork and route running, amazing, top of the league.
Yes, he is a top 10 receiver. He is a top 10 receiver in the league.
Yes,
but even if we're just like everyone said, which we were going off of, yes, I am a little angry because a lot of the hate was coming at Larry Fitzgerald for being 69th on the list.
Nice.
But a lot of people were like getting mad saying, oh, it's based off of last season. That's why. And that's like, okay, well, if we're going off of last season, all the receivers that he named, all the receivers he named did better than him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm better than these guys. He was like, okay, well, which stats?
Oh, you're better than these guys with your 1,200 yards, which isn't bad. It isn't bad.
Not
Once
bad.
again, have to caveat that. Not bad. But the other receivers are just straight up better.
Yes.
It's no disrespect to you. I know you had Phillip Rivers there. I know that you had you had Mike Eckler in the beat up Melvin Gordon. But still, you're not as good. You are great in your own right. You're just not as good, and that's not a bad
You're a
thing.
different type of receiver than they
And
are.
I understand the wanting to compete. I understand the competitive edge and the little ego in there. Especially, we all know skill positions. As a lineman, I can say we're totally no ego
I'm
at
a
all. We
linebacker.
just
We
go
don't
in and make
care.
work. But no,
We just hit
DBs,
stuff.
especially wide receivers, especially swallow the pride, dog. Swallow the pride. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about more of the two highs and two lows, Jalen, because I got a little bit of beef with this top 100 so far. I know it's mostly done by the
Same.
players and stuff like that, but I don't see the players doing stuff like this. Jimmy Garoppolo, number 53, 43, 43. Jimmy Garoppolo, 43. Are you serious? So the man that relied
Yes.
heavily
Heavily.
in the playoffs on their run game with Mostert and crew and Coleman going off. He didn't do anything in the playoffs. He didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. The only thing he's remembered for in the Super Bowl is overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders for what could have been the game-winning touchdown.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Keyword.
Could have been. But then even besides that, okay, he's ahead of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott all the way up at 46. Okay.
Too high.
Ooh, that's hard. I would rather Jimmy Garoppolo than Dak Prescott. I don't even know if I could say that. That's a really
Depends
tough
on
one.
the day.
Who would you rather be stuck with? Who would you rather be stuck? Jimmy G or Dak? For the money they're asking? I mean, they're both super expensive.
Honestly,
I'm taking Jimmy.
right now, I think I would take Jimmy just because Dak Prescott turned down a 35.
I'm taking Jimmy for the Bill Belichick pedigree. That's it. Only reason.
Yes.
Even though they have a system quarterback. Another guy I have I don't have beef with, but I disagree with where they are, is Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley being up there at number 51 in the league, where
In a
last
subpar
year, in coming off his worst year, and yeah, he was great the 2 years before that. MVP, producing like MVP. But he was nowhere close to his normal production. He was nowhere close to number 51. I could see him in the 60s. I could see him in the 70s. Maybe 80s. But not the upper 50s. Please. No, fix that. Another thing to fix. Okay, DK Metcalf. Rookie. Mm-hmm. You're a rookie last year. You're a huge, extremely physically, athletically gifted player. But are you actually in the 80s? No, you're not. What about you, Jalen? What are your biggest beefs with these rankings?
I think I was mad at some of the disrespect towards Larry Fitzgerald for the second time on this show.
Understandably.
We had a lot of disrespect when we said T.O. wasn't better than Larry Fitzgerald, and now a lot of people coming at Larry Fitzgerald. He isn't.
Check the video.
Check
the video. We got stats to prove it. Check the video. It's on YouTube. Just look it.
Yes. And I think a lot of people came at him. And it's like Larry Fitzgerald last season had 0 drops. Mm-hmm. Name another receiver who did that. Mm-hmm. No, you can't.
Can you? Can you name one?
I don't think any other receiver did it last year.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Oh, wait. There's no one.
Yep. And Larry Fitzgerald has done that 4 times.
He's the man with, once again, the craziest stat you will ever hear. More tackles than drops as a wide receiver. Who the hell does that besides Larry Fitzmagic? No, you can't even call him Fitzmagic. That's already taken. Larry Fitz greatness. That one doesn't roll off the tongue, but it'll catch on.
Works.
Trust me.
It catches on sooner or later. But yeah,
especially him. He always catches.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he produced. He had 75 catches for 804 yards last season. That's a good season. Mm-hmm. And then especially when you don't drop it and working with a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And working with a very minimal receiving core last season.
Yep.
Filled with mostly rookies who didn't understand the game yet.
Yep.
And he produced like that at the age of 36.
He started playing football when those players were born. Yep.
Yes. And so that was one of my main problems. And one of my bigger ones, when we get to our 2 lows, I'll talk about my second problem.
Okay. Now, let's get on to those, Jalen, because one of the biggest beefs I have consistently one of the best tackles in the league. Right tackle or left tackle, it doesn't matter. He's a part of one of the best offensive lines in the league. He's given up like one quarterback pressure or one quarterback sack in like the last season. I mean, Drew Brees doesn't even ever have to worry about looking to the right side of the field because Ramczyk is thank you, one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. He's 3 years into his career. 0 sacks in 2019. First team All-Pro. This is his debut into the top 100, and great. Good for him for making it to debut. He's earned it. But 82 is wrong. This man, with how important he is, wants people really, please. Offensive line is way more important than you really think. Please. He's in. I know these are players. We always got to take it with that caveat. But, right, he's at least in the 60s. I'd say 50s or 40s, if I'm being honest. Yes. Put some respect on his name, please, because he's one of the best.
I feel like it needs to be more specific. I think they need to put more respect on linemen. I feel like they only give respect to a lot of the older linemen in the game, and they don't really give respect to producing younger linemen.
It hasn't come out yet, but Quinn Nelson should be a top 10. Top 5,
he should
maybe.
Be top 10. I give him 5.
I'll give him 5. Quinn Nelson is up there, but Ryan, he needs to be put way higher up on the list. What do you think,
Yes.
What's your player?
My non-bias, because I have 2 bias ones that I'll go over really quickly. Well, I was going to say Kyler and Budda Baker. Budda Baker was in top 10 for tackles as a safety. I believe he had 107, 108 tackles, somewhere around there. And he's ranked 97th. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler.
I would like to see him.
He's ranked 97th.
I like to see him upper 80s, mid 70s.
Yes, that's where I would have been fine with those, either of those. But to he barely made the list, that doesn't sit right with me. Nah. And then Kyler, my thing was more of you put DK Metcalf in front of him and stuff like that. I just
Who was the better rookie? Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray was the better rookie.
Who won Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jalen?
Exactly. Kyler Murray.
Was it some buff dude up in Seattle? No, it was some midget down. No, it was some. Oh yeah, I hate that. I hate that mouthpiece so much. No, but it wasn't some buff dude. It was some midget down in the desert that won it. Kyler Murray is better than DK Metcalf. He has more importance. Therefore, should be higher on the list. It's only logic, right, Jalen?
But my non-biased was Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard, in my opinion,
a player that we both agreed on with this one. This was my other guy.
In my opinion, he is a top 5 linebacker in the league right now.
Yes. He should be
that non-pass rushing linebacker.
20s, 30s right now. You thinking?
Yes. 20s, 30s. Even if he slipped in at like 19, I'd have been like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
I've been fine with that if he slipped in late teens. But to put him back there makes it's like this dude has produced he's been 2 seasons?
Yeah. All pro.
2 seasons.
All pro.
All pro. Crazy stats for 2 seasons, crazy athletic, and to come in and dominate and become a leader of a team. In my opinion, he's the leader of that defense.
Yes.
And at that young of an age, and surprise people. I don't know if anyone remembers
Darius Smith over Leonard. I mean, no disrespect to Zadarius Smith, great linebacker.
Great season, but no.
Darius Leonard's better. Darius Leonard is better. Okay,
yes.
Now
I believe that Darius Leonard. With what he's produced and the short times that he's produced it, especially if we're just going off that season, produced crazy. And to put him that low is just kind of wrong.
Now, I just want to end this top 100 debates with a low positivity because I have to put some respect on this list because they got one player really right. And the man that finally is getting recognition he deserves. I loved him in Denver. Unfortunately, he didn't fit in there because there had a bunch of pass rushers. He was just an odd man out. He didn't belong on the second string. He did not belong on the second string, so he signed this crazy steal of a deal, 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Shaquille Barrett is at 32 on this list. And this is his top 100 debut. His first time on the list. He's number 32. Pro Bowl, second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl selection, 58 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 6 forced fumbles, INT in the league-leading 19.5 sacks, which bested his total output of his first 5 years combined by 5. Signed the franchise tag, made him a lot of money, and this man is in a great spot here at 32. he's been for a while my most underrated player in the league, and not even my most underrated player in the league. It's not even just opinion; it's a fact. He is the most underrated player in the league. He's finally getting some respect put on his name, and he deserves it. Congrats to Shaq Barrett. Loved you in Denver.
All I know,
still love you in Tampa. Bless up.
yes. All I know is if Tom Brady is in the top 10 again, I'm going to be very pissed off.
He is, though. He is. He's always going to be.
He's probably going to be.
He can throw for 5 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. He's still going to be a top 20 guy. Yeah. Guaranteed. Okay, but
guaranteed.
Let's move past the NFL.
All I know is if Andrew Luck isn't at 1, I'm going to be pissed off. He had the most impact of this season than anybody.
If you just say impact, yeah, you might be able to make the argument.
Off of impact, on fantasy, he should be top 10.
On fantasy owners. Okay, Jalen. Let's turn away from our NFL love to a little NBA coverage. It's a rarity, but I still gotta love the NBA because
let's just say we're going to be showing some love to some of our underappreciated sports soon.
We're finally back. Let's go NBA. Let's go. Yes. But my biggest question is, which playing team, in your opinion, has the best chance of winning the finals this year? And while you think of that, I'm going to give you my 2. Today, there's 2 teams, and I think it was all kind of regarding on whether Zion is going to be playing or not. If he's going to be missing games or not. He's not. Cleared quarantine the day of recording on the 28th, and he's going to be playing in other games. At least, knock on wood, no injuries. So, and that's why I think the Pelicans are the favorite in these play-in teams to make it to the finals. They have the best chance to win the finals. And that all comes down to Lonzo Ball. He's the X factor. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I am. Of course I'm kidding. It's Zion Williamson. If you thought otherwise, you're a moron. If you actually believe me.
Honestly,
I'm not even. I mean, I know I got some hot takes. Jalen, but that's
not it.
That's even too.
I think I could play devil's advocate on that though.
Okay, but that's a take too hot for me to touch, and so if you know that's something too hot for me, that's how you know it's a bad take.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Just to play around with that idea, honestly,
please don't.
If Zoe doesn't produce, they aren't going to win. He has a big key for at least passing wise. And just momentum-wise, he is a big part of that team. If he does not produce in his role that he has been put in, they will not win games. So from that perspective, he can be an X factor just based off of if he cannot move the ball around and get the ball to players and make those highlight plays with Zion, then they're not going to, produce like they would normally produce. Okay. So I'd say he could be a not I would say he could be a B factor, not an X factor, but a B factor.
That's fair. I could respect that. My other team though that really has a chance at this, especially if the Pelicans, especially if Lonzo Ball doesn't perform the way he's supposed to be, which means that the Pelicans are going to suck, according to you.
Yeah.
It's the Portland Trailblazers are the team to watch out for in the West. One of the other teams to watch out for in the West, at least. You got guys, their roster's good. Dame Lillard, Hassan Whiteside, C.J. McCollum, Carmelo, Skinny Melo is back, and so he's looking decent. And so that team has the potential to make moves. That team has the potential to do something good, and I'm really curious to see if they get hot, especially what we saw Dame Lillard do last season in the playoffs. If they get hot, they could be a scary team to go up against in the West.
Yes. My first one is obviously going to be biased, as nothing on this show is biased.
Yep.
I think the Kings can make a push. I think they showed yesterday against the Clippers. They showed yesterday against the Clippers. If they play strong, which they did in the first 2 quarters, but the third and fourth quarter, they really went crazy. And even with, I feel like a lot of people have seen the Kings as they only beat big teams when big teams, big players don't play good. And yesterday, Kawhi Leonard was hitting threes like nobody's business. He's playing crazy defense and had a great game.
Than LeBron James.
Yes. Paul George had a great game overall.
Yep.
And they lost to the Kings. You could say it was just a scrimmage. Even the Kings Instagram, which you should follow, is
They're
one of the
one of
best
the better
Instagrams
ones,
of all
and I
time.
could say it's because I'm
Yes,
independent. I don't really have a favorite NBA team. I would say that
yes.
the Kings have one of the best social medias in the game.
The King said when you beat the Clippers, but it doesn't count, and they had the Will Smith face. That was hilarious. But people are playing right now. I don't know
Mhm.
if you knew this, but people they are playing trying to get back into a
You
groove.
gotta
No
get the
one wants to
rust off.
lose.
These guys aren't
Exactly.
playing soft. These guys are going
These
at it.
guys are trying.
Yeah. So,
These are guys that are trying.
and the
These
Kings
these
won.
guys
Kings beat the Clippers.
exactly, and the Kings won. The Clippers did have them in the first. They were up by 21 at most at one point.
Yeah, they had us in the
Kings made
first
a
half. Not
comeback.
gonna lie.
Yes, not gonna lie, but I think they are dangerous. But
Hmm.
that was my bias.
Hmm.
Um, I think one of the playing teams that is most dangerous
Hmm.
right now, due to weight loss, is Skinny Mellow and the
Skinny
Blazers.
Mellow. Wait,
Skinny
what?
Mellow is
Jalen?
the X factor.
Jalen. What would happen if Skinny Mellow put on the hoodie?
Skinny Hoodie Mellow.
Skinny hoodie Mellow.
That's crazy.
that
If
is,
they allowed hoodies in
that
game,
is that Super
that I
Saiyan?
don't know if you guys know
That's going
this.
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason they don't allow players to wear hoodies during game is because Melo would be too elite if he was able to wear his hoodie during the game.
Who's more elite? Okay, we can talk about this next week. The most elite player in their respective sport, Joe Flacco or Carmelo Anthony. Let's debate that one. Oh
Facts.
boy, yeah. But
That'll be a
Pelicans and
conversation
Blazers
for the
or the
future.
Kings are the ones to watch out for. The winner of the finals is more than likely coming out of the Western Conference this year.
Most likely.
Okay, MLB stuff now. 2020 is underway. Hopefully, shout out to everyone that was able to catch our live stream on Friday, watching
It
the
was
A's
amazing.
opening. It was one of the worst things I was ever part of because I consumed 12 hot dogs in 2 hours and I threw up. It was awful. I want to die. That was some of the worst I've ever felt. Maybe besides
Yes.
surgery, maybe besides post surgery, that was the worst I've ever felt. Then two friends of the show, Ray Rodriguez, who's also made appearances, and Ryan Watson, one of the biggest fans, got absolutely plastered, and we all ended up throwing that up that night. Not on stream,
Yes.
but I made it off stream to my bathroom, but it was I missed some time, and Jalen was there to test that. So appreciate everyone who
Yes.
watched that.
I was interacting with fans inside of the chat. It
Hey,
was a
but
fun time.
the new rules that are happening this year are very interesting. National League has the DH, so universal DH. And the relief pitchers must face at least 3 batters. Extra inning rules with the runner starting on second. Of course, in the A's game that happened that night, shout out to Matt Olson for cranking a moonshot in the bottom of the 10th with a walk-off grand slam, the first in opening day history. So
Manny.
runner on second base didn't really matter because only
Yeah.
is
If you crank it out the stadium, it doesn't matter as
Right?
long as there's somebody on base.
Exactly. So he cranked that one out. Didn't matter. But I want to talk about this. Which rule is going to have the most impact moving forward, at least on this season and the future, and why is it the universal DH spot? This is the most impactful rule because it takes away the weakness in lineup. I know there's certain pitchers, Madison Bumgarner being one of them, that as a pitcher, oh yeah, no bias, as a pitcher is dangerous at the plate. You can't take a batter off with him. But what's nice is that a lot of the times that pitching spot and even the A spot in front of them does provide a little bit of space with as a pitcher in that lineup where you're not having an extreme amount of pressure put on you. But now that's gone. Instead of the pitcher, where normally it's pretty much a guaranteed out. Most pitchers don't hit like above 100 or 200 at most. Now you're facing one of the team's best hitters with their DH spot, meaning that you definitely cannot take that batter off. So, and also not even talking about that, talking about the future implications too, Jalen. Who knows? I could really see. I don't want to because I love the tradition of the game. I love the tradition of the
Yes.
game. Well, the oldest game in America. That's why it's the still technically called the national pastime of the United States because it's one of the it's one of the most traditional sports in the game, and I would hate to see the National League move away from using the pitcher and move into the DH, but that's something I could really see them doing.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the rule one here. I think the biggest rule is the not overtime, extra innings, man on second base to start with rule,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I believe that a lot of teams the lower end teams in the league right now, they end up losing extra inning games that this season could be coming big for play or making the playoffs because they can't get a man on base.
Okay.
Well, past first base. They can get a man in the first base, but they can't get a man in the scoring position.
The scoring position is huge. There's a big difference between a runner on first and a runner on second, especially with no outs. Especially with no outs.
If you can get a man to hit a single, just a decent single,
that could win.
He can score, and that could end the game right then and there. So I just believe that this rule it gives power to the teams who, let's say that they don't really have the best hitters, but it's the 11th inning and their best hitters coming up with the man on second, and all he has to do is hit a first base, hit a one base hit. He's going for it. You know, you don't have to rely on your one big hitter to now hit it out the park to win the game.
Yep.
He could hit it into a little crevice, and that could win the game. He could barely slip it past, and that could win the game.
Exactly.
So I just think it evens the playing field a little bit with the teams who have more variety on their better hitters. I think it evens it out for the weaker lineups.
Okay.
And so that's why I think it can have a bigger effect in total.
Now, very good point. Now, I am going to give you my inaugural MLB Top 5 Power Rankings. Of course, this is something I've always had the best power rankings, whether it be in the NFL season, whether it be for in the XFL. Long live XFL. Hopefully, they're going to be sold to someone in early August. XFL never die.
X stands for extreme.
We know. Pride never die. XFL never die. Amen. But here, it's time to do some power rankings, Jalen. It's time for me to give you my rankings. Per usual, let's go back to the shtick. I'm going to give you my top 5 teams, and you're going to react to it because my rankings are always right, and you just have to give me your opinion on it. You'll be wrong if you disagree, but that's just the way it is. Oh, that feels so good to say again. It's been a while, everyone. It's been a while.
It's been a very long
but
time.
We are going to go from 5 to 1 like usual, and here we go. Number 5, the Chicago Cubs. Pretty good power. One of the 3-1 teams. All these teams up here are currently 3-1. And they're looking good. After that, we have the Houston Astros. Now this with an asterisk, per usual, everything with the asterisk. But that's also not only for the typical asterisk, but it's also for the asterisk of, is Justin Verlander actually going to be here? I know he's missing 1 to 2 weeks at least, but is he going to be here for any bit of the season? To be honest, it might sound bad, but I kind of hope not. It's a little bit of a karma, so that's what it is. Yankees are in the number 3 spot because they have the best power hitters in the game right now. I'm a little scared because Giancarlo Stanton, he's looking good again, and he is hitting shots. He had a home run that went for about 1,000 feet, and it came off the bat at 122 miles an hour. That was his exit velocity, and now that is only second all time in exit velocity in the Statcast era. With the first place holder being Giancarlo Stanton as well, and holding it by like maybe 1 extra mile per hour better. So this dude is hitting jacks. He is as good as he's ever been. Then they also have a great pitching staff, and then they also have, let's not forget, a giant in Aaron Judge. Number 2 though is a team that we're kind of talking about, a team that I'm a little surprised. Everyone last year, I still hate them because they knocked off the A's in the wildcard game. But the Tampa Bay Rays. Jalen, your team that you predicted to be a surprise in the World Series was the Atlanta Braves. They just got knocked off today by the Tampa Bay Rays 5-2. And the Tampa Bay Rays moved to 4-1, are in first place.
But also, if you look at that ranking, I had Braves versus Rays. So... Either way.
Whatever.
It works.
I guess. But Tampa Bay Rays are surprising a lot of people right now, and that's why they're in number 2 spot. But the number 1 spot is going to go to another American League team. The American League is killing it right now, and that goes to the Cleveland Indians. They are another 4-1 team, and they are looking good between the mix of pitching, the mix of offense, with their run differentials right now. With their 1 shutout against the Royals, they're looking good. And of course, it's all early season, so everything can change in an instant. Like we've already had the Dodgers start top 5, and they moved all the way out of the top 10. They probably dropped to the top 15 if we're being really honest.
They are actually 15th.
Yeah,
I checked
yeah,
the power ranking.
they're not looking good. Well, those power rankings don't matter. It's probably like ESPN's or someone others. The only power rankings that
It was
matters.
Bleacher Report.
Okay, Bleacher Report, you don't matter. The only rankings that do matter here is Ross Allen's rankings, and
Confirmed.
our report. That it's not Bleacher Report. That's Ross Report. Only report that matters. The best report in the game. But there we go. 5-1. We got the Cubs, Astros, Yankees, Rays, Indians. Agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments and the Twitter replies. Or you can let us know by leaving a 5-star review with your answers over on Apple Podcasts. That's the preferred one. But first outs right now, I have the Twins and the Padres and the A's. 3 teams that could really start to make a move into these top 5, depending on what happens right now. We'll see next week. Of course, I'll be giving you my power rankings weekly to bi-weekly. Just depends on how I feel. It depends on if I want to give you guys this great information or not. But Jalen, let's wrap this show up by covering some UFC news. As we all know, the UFC 252, 253, and 254, all the main events are looking phenomenal right now. In order, we're going to have DC versus Stipe 3, the trilogy fight, the fight that is going to ultimately determine the greatest heavyweight in UFC history, arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time in any promotion. I would say in any promotion. Not yet, at least, because he got beat pretty bad by he got pointed up by Stipe. So. And then we have in 253 in September, we have Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Big beef going to this one. Izzy's undefeated record in stake. It's at stake. And it's in jeopardy because Paulo Costa is the best talent that he's faced so far. This is going to be his biggest test up until now. And then now, just very recently announced this morning on the 28th, Khabib versus Justin. The lightweight title unification bout is upon us. It's going to be taking place in October on the 24th at a to-be-determined location. One of the best lightweight fights. This is easily going to be Khabib Nurmagomedov's most difficult challenge up to this point, according to Dustin Poirier, who almost beat Khabib Nurmagomedov back in September of 2019. He's the one that believes that Justin Gaethje is the man to be Khabib, or maybe not the man, but the man with the best chance. And I believe that as well. This is going to be a huge fight. But out of these, though, it's so tough to choose which one I'm looking forward to the most. So tough, Jalen. But to be honest, and based on how much is on the line, legacy, and all that, I'm going to have to go with the trilogy fight. I know it's probably, in terms of the fight itself, it's probably not going to be the most exciting, but it is without a doubt going to be the most important one, I would say.
Yes. For me, I'm going to have to go off of the hype right now. The hype. I'm going to have to go with Izzy versus Paulo Costa.
Very fair. It's
They're both two very tough fighters. I believe Paulo Costa is undefeated in the UFC, is he not?
I believe he has one loss.
Is it in the UFC though, or is it just in
I don't believe so. He his record is just this. It is a perfect. He is at 13-0. 13-0.
Yeah, all right. So it's 2 perfect records. Someone has to come out of here with 5
wins in the UFC.
Yes. So I just think that going into this fight, I just think it's 2 undefeated fighters with amazing potential to be great. Probably some of the greatest to ever do it. And now they have to go against each other. And they hate each other. Actual hate.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's so perfect.
Like, some people get angry and they fake hate. Like, oh, I hate this guy, just because they have to fight them. But they do not like each other at all. There is this is not 2 dudes who are going to be drinking together a month from now after the fight. Well, a month from the fight happening.
Never.
These guys hate each other. They will. What was that great line? If I see this dude in the Whole Foods, I'm piecing him up. Shout out to Jorge Masvidal. Dude, that's the type of hate that they have. So I think I have to go with this hype.
That's perfectly fair. And Jalen, my last point that I would like to make this week, especially with the UFC, the man that has taken the sport, not just UFC, but the sport by storm, is Khamzat Chimaev. This dude, quote, wants to smash and wants to smash everyone in that division. He had two of the biggest weeks in the UFC recently. He had two fights in 10 days, and in both fights, he just dominated. His first fight against John Phillips back in June, July still July. Round 2 submission, a minute into the round. And then his most recent fight on the 25th, 10 days differential against Reese McKee. Round 1, 3 minutes into the first round, brutal TKO knockout. So, Khamzat, he's now 8-0, and the dude looks unstoppable at this point. And Jalen, I'm just going to say this, because he's going to be fighting UFC 252 on August 15th. So that's going to be a third fight in 2 months. This guy is on pace. I could see him doing 8 fights a year. But the thing is, though, with where he is right now, with how badly he's been dismantling these guys, and how good he looks, I know he hasn't been against ranked opponents. Hopefully this next fight better be at least in top 15, if not top 10.
According to Dana, the discussions are to get him somebody in the top 15.
I'd be okay with that. Honestly, I could see him doing top 10, but the pace he's at right now, Jalen, don't be surprised. Everyone listening, don't be surprised if Chimaev is fighting for a title fight, whether it be in the 170 division or the 185 division, because he smashes in both. It doesn't matter which division he's in. He's going to be fighting for a title either by the end of this year or early next year at the latest. Mark my words, this guy is the next big thing in this division, because he wants to fight and he wants to smash people.
Yeah, the only hard part about that is the two champs that are in those two divisions are two very, very dominating champs in Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman.
Blake said this, UFC correspondent Blake Campbell said this on our UFC Fight Island 3 recap show, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. Honestly, it could be a stretch to some people, but if Chimaev fought Kamaru Usman today, he would win. Chimaev would beat Kamaru Usman because not only does he have phenomenal ground game, but he would destroy him in the stand-up. Without a doubt,
the reason
Chimaev is winning the fight right now. I'll say it.
The reason I can't go with that is the main reason I can't go against that is Kamaru Usman is a tough dude, can take shots, as we've seen time in and time out, and we haven't seen if this guy can go for 5 rounds.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he doesn't need to yet, but when you get up to those championship fights, as we've seen in one of the last UFC Fight Island cards, some guys, Benavidez, are willing to almost die before they give up a chance at a title. And when you have that belt, you are willing to go an extra mile to not give that up. And I feel like the longer the fight goes, based off of my knowledge now, like obviously I haven't seen the guy fight more than 1 round in a fight.
Well, no,
so I don't
we
know
saw
how
1.5.
Yes.
One round.
1
round and change. 1 round and change.
Yeah, 1 round and some change. 1 round and a walkout. That's what we saw. So I just think right now, with how it goes, I don't think he just completely dismantles Kamaru into where he's stopping Kamaru. But I think that's the problem. I feel like right now he'd have to dismantle Kamaru early, because first of all, you're not going to beat Kamaru on points. Kamaru will drag you down repeatedly.
No, he won't drag you down. He'll clinch you up and step on your feet.
And then, okay, I'm just saying that was one fight. If we look at the rest of this fight, he dismantles dude. Tyron Woodley was seen as unstoppable until he got in the ring.
Yeah, no, that was dominating.
Yes. So I just feel like depending on which Kamaru we can get foot stamping champ, or we can get the guy who fought Woodley, and both are very dangerous.
Or Covington.
Or the one who fought Covington. He's just been a beast. He's shown us different styles. So I just think without knowing which Kamaru you're going to get, it's hard to decide.
I think at the very least, so Jalen, you could agree with me on this statement that Chimaev is the next big thing in the UFC. He's a man that we all have to watch out for, and he's a man that if you're top 15, even top 10 in the 170 or 185 division, you don't want to fight him right now. You do not want
let's
to
just
fight
say
him.
If you're number 15 right now, you're really scared.
No, I'm not scared at all because there's no way he's just fighting the top. He's not fighting top 15.
No,
He's not
but
fighting
just think of
P15.
this:
Oh,
if he fights someone above the top
he's
15
getting booed
person,
out to the
most
top
likely,
15.
yeah, 15th person is most likely going to get kicked out. They're most likely not just going to if they believe he's as dominant as he is, they will not
Yeah.
put him against like number 10 and kick number 10 out. They're just going to move him back and then move 15.
You don't want to, but like to be said, like you don't want to fight this guy. This guy has championship material written all over him. I know it's early, but I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm a huge fan of him because at the same time, it's weird. At the same time, he's one of the scariest people, but he's also one of the friendliest people, which is the worst combination because he's a man that could, just make you happy, be your pal, but he could also murder you in 2 seconds.
Yeah, to put it into UFC terms, based off of his fighting style, he is Habib with personality.
Nope, he's Habib with stand up.
Well, Habib with stand up and personality.
Oh, and okay, we can talk about that.
That's
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
That's fair. But before we really wrap things up, I just want to give a couple shout outs. I had an amazing interview with amazing man, former or NFL player, CFL player, college standout, Marcus Rios. Most recently played for the Blue Bombers up in the CFL. He had a about 3 year stint with the Denver Broncos. Gained NFL interest again. He's going to be making a comeback. But he's the only man, and this isn't even an exaggeration. He's the only person in the world with the story that he has. So that interview drops Friday. You are all going to want to check that because it is phenomenal. But also besides that, another thing we've been plugging, Jalen, merch. Fourth and Long has merch. All you got to go is go to
T-shirts,
Teespring,
fanny packs.
Oh, fanny packs. Fanny packs are clutch. I know the socks are nice too. We got them tank tops. We got the normal tees. We got them premium tees. We got decals, baby. We got them decals. And also, coming soon, Fourth and Long wall tapestries. Fourth and Long
put us on your wall.
Oh.
You can put our face on the pillow. We'll sleep next to you.
Hey, just wait until we're coming out with a sock line with each of our faces on it. Can't wait. It's going to be a banger. Going to be an absolute banger.
We're still just right now.
Links
the
are
delay
everywhere.
is trying to get my face on the sock. That's the main delay right now.
But
after we get that figured
I just
out,
don't want to get you. It's the website. It's not letting me put your face on the sock because it just kind of crashes from the ugliness. But all you got to do is go to one of the options. You can go to www.thefourthandlong.com where you can find all of our amazing content and more. And also in there, you can just click on the apparel page and click the picture. Be taken right to the storefront. It's that easy. Or you just go to teesprings.com/store/Fourth and Long official store. That's all, everyone. That's
a lot. Or you just go to the website. Just go to our
website, www.thefourthandlong.com, the best website in all of sporting.
Click on apparel.
Just
while you're looking at the apparel, you know what I'm saying? Have a second thing open, read a couple articles, watch a couple videos, listen to some audio.
Oh, yeah, because also, you can find us everywhere, right? Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Shout out to you. You're OG YouTube, but also YouTube. And they kind of suck, if we're being honest. Yeah. But in anywhere you get your podcast from, it's that easy. We're everywhere.
That easy.
You can't escape us. We're just going to find you no matter what, and you're going to listen to us.
Can't wait till we get to put that on the shirt.
We're going to find you.
Podcast, you can't escape us.
I'll make that tonight. Don't you tempt me.
Make it and I'll buy it.
That's going to do it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day and enjoy the Marcus Rios interview when it comes out. We'll see you in the next one.